All right, y'all. Got a real treat for you. I'm with Clint Sigg, newly signed USFL player for the Houston Gamblers. He's making his pro debut right here in St. Louis, Missouri. Been to 3 colleges, so he's a well-traveled dude. Awesome to have him here. Clint, why don't you introduce yourself to my assortment of fans going around here?
Yeah,
right now.
I appreciate you having me. What's going on? I'm Clint Sigg. Like you said, currently with the Houston Gamblers, reporting out there a week from today, actually, so super excited about that. Been around the block a little bit, been to 3 different colleges, and then originally from Colorado. So just a little bit about me.
Just a little bit, right?
Just a little bit.
So let's dive right into it, man. Originally coming out of high school, playing quarterback, going to Davidson, then obviously ended up at Sioux Falls, and then Missouri's own Lindenwood. What was this recruitment process like for you? And obviously you got the stereotypical quarterback frame, but obviously playing tight end right now.
Yeah, so in high school I was bigger. I was like 6'4", 215 or so. And then, quarterback, always loved quarterback. That was what I wanted to be in college. And I think because of that, I didn't necessarily get like the big offers that I wanted from Power 5 schools. I had, a number of D2 and FCS looks, but just playing quarterback, I think they wanted to see me as more of an athlete, and I was really sold on quarterback. So kind of coming out of the gate in college, filled out pretty quick. I'll say I got up to 230, 240, like pretty damn fast. It was good eats out in college and all you can eat too. So, but yeah, man, I mean, like I said, quarterback was my first love, and I think that kind of taught me a broad view of offense in the game in general and kind of how to see things, and that kind of made my transition to tight end a lot easier for me. So,
do you think you were kind of before your time, kind of seeing how Taysom Hill and even Sam Ehlinger, was because that's like that 2015, 2016 time frame.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously with like your build and kind of what they're doing, maybe not the sexiest passing numbers, but the ability to just be a playmaker.
Yeah.
I
mean, the number of transitioned quarterbacks to tight ends, and I mean, that's the most common one you see. Like sometimes with smaller, quicker guys, you'll see like safety and stuff, but the quarterback to tight end deal, I think, is really smooth. And like Travis Kelce was a quarterback in high school. He didn't have insane numbers. I think he threw for probably 2,000 yards and just a bigger guy, bigger athlete. But I do think that I didn't realize it at the time, but I was kind of right on par with what a lot of guys like me were doing to give themselves a chance to actually go to the next level. So
it's pretty rad to see that transition, though. It's kind of like, obviously, everyone talked about Tebow in 2010, and just to see the fact that, a guy like Taysom Hill, who would have been an afterthought, the fact that he's making a bunch of money and being not only from the financial part being successful, but also part of the overall cog and whatnot. And I mean, even in the XFL, you see a guy like Eric Dungy starting to get some more snaps, and Steven Montez is a bigger quarterback as well. So I'm sure you know him coming from Colorado.
Yep.
Yeah,
I did. I watched him. He made his debut with the Sea Dragons a couple weeks ago, so that was kind of cool to see him. Yeah, man, a lot of bigger quarterbacks in the league, and then obviously, like the fact that Tebow was even able to. I mean, I have the utmost respect, and I look up to that guy so much. And the fact that he was able to even go to, I think it was the Jets camp as a tight end and make it all the way to final cuts.
He's been around, man. I mean, I think he's got. He played for the Patriots for like 15 minutes, and then the Eagles and whatnot. And I mean, I'm a Mets fan coming from New York City, so
is it Mets, Jets, and then Knicks and Giants? Is that kind of the
Giants and Yankees?
Okay,
yeah. So I'm actually a Giants fan, but believe it or not, I became a Chiefs fan because of Trent Green. I thought Trent Green was cool, so I can actually name all the quarterbacks going from like Trent Green to now. So when you have all these Chiefs fans coming out of the woodwork, it's funny. They're like, "Oh, you only know Mahomes." I'm like, I was there for the Tyler Palco days, okay, man?
Hell yeah.
It was like, don't do that.
You see the Instagram memes like, "Oh, you're a Chiefs fan? Name 5 players."
Oh, man.
Girls are like, Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, which year of the team, man? Because I remember that 2014 team where I'm pretty sure I was playing wide receiver for them at some point.
Yeah.
It was pretty gross at some point.
Hell yeah.
But so you get Davidson, everything seems hunky-dory for a little bit, kind of that realization of what's my best fit here. Go to Sioux Falls. Why Sioux Falls, one? And then was it immediately jumping into tight end at Sioux Falls, or was it kind of just like, we'll just see where you fit, kind of that athlete mold that you had?
Yeah, so Davidson was good, made a lot of good friends there, and it's time I wouldn't change, but at the same time, it definitely wasn't a fit for me, so I got out sooner than later. And then Coach Stug and his whole crew had recruited me out of high school to play quarterback at Sioux Falls, and they, had a really good scholarship opportunity for me, so I basically called up Stug that winter of 2015. I was like, hey, man, here I am calling you back. I think he knew when he saw that I was going to Davidson that I'd probably be giving him a call in about 3 months. And there I was. So he's from Colorado. I'm from Colorado. So he actually popped up to my house. Nice. And we had a really good talk and kind of just wanted to pick his brain because I just redshirted and I was kind of antsy to get back on the field. So I was like, hey, I know you guys got an All-American quarterback. His name was Luke Papillion. Dude was an animal. He was like 6'5", 220, but just like a freak athlete. And he still had, I think, 1 year left. And I was like, what about tight end? He was like, yeah, you could slide in there, and I think it'd be a good transition for you. And he goes, can you catch? I was like, yeah, I think I can catch.
Figure it out.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. Yeah. So they rounded up some money for me, and the transition was pretty smooth. And it was actually funny. We kind of joke about it now. But so when you're a true freshman at Sioux Falls, they had these traditions, we'll call them, where so like there's a haircut tradition where you get your head shaved.
You gotta do like the friar tuck thing.
Oh, dude, some of the haircuts that were hilarious, but it was never something where they were forced to. It was always you don't have to do this.
Be a lot cooler if you did.
Be a lot cooler if you did. Exactly right. So I missed that, which was actually cool, because some people's hairline didn't make a full recovery. We'll just say so. I missed the haircuts and all the other crap that I didn't want to have to do, and I kind of slid in at a good time. So.
Obviously, at Sioux Falls, two guys that ended up going to the NFL, Trey Pipkins, Dennis Gardeck.
Yep.
See you posting about Dennis every once in a while. Coming from a D2 school, I've asked this to a couple like smaller school guys I've talked to. When you see these guys, you're just like, yeah, what? Almost like Trouse on D2 football, but you're like, why isn't this dude at like Iowa State or something like that? Like, you see it, like, you kind of, does everyone already know kind of, especially because I don't know the difference in y'all's like age and whatnot, but like you're seeing Dennis like sophomore year, you're like, yeah, you know this dude is going to be doing to the next level and whatnot.
Yeah, when that dude came in, and I'll talk about Trey next because they're both just athletic freaks and the greatest dudes. But Dennis, when he first came in, I remember just looking at that dude's arms and his physique. Yeah, I was like, oh my god, like this dude's definitely going to the league.
He looked like Clay Matthews.
Yeah. And I was hang cleaning with him one time. And so we get up to 225 and we're good. 275. I was like, all right, kind of starting to struggle. He's fine. Put on 3 plates and he just hang cleans like 3 for nothing. I was like, all right, I'm gonna take a break.
Just like, go see the trainer real quick.
At that point. And then I think his first game he had like 5 sacks or something crazy. So knew the dude was gonna be a freak. And then at his pro day, I think he popped off like a 4.5 and did like 35 reps of bench or something. And then Trey, we always knew he was like just athletically superior. Like we would play pickup basketball and I would always be the one who had to guard Big Trey. And in the post, like that dude's footwork and like his drop step and his long arms, like, man, this dude's special. And then getting to block next to Trey with Trey, like when we had a double team or like a duo, some dude was going into the bleachers and on his back every time. So that was super fun. But yeah, seeing those guys and just having them, as teammates was always, it's just super encouraging that obviously they're kind of a step above in terms of athletically, but it just kind of goes to show you that it doesn't matter where you are, they'll find you.
Well, I mean, it's also like how was it going against Dennis in practice? Because it's like, it's these mental wins. Like, he got me on 5, but like on 6, I got him. So it's like validating, like I could do this. Like, especially transitioning to the tight end position and like being next to Trey, who's obviously in the NFL. It's like, I'm competing with these guys. Like I might not be at that like, Travis Kelce level, but there's 3 tight ends on an NFL roster. Like I could beat out, one of these dudes. Like was that very validating and just learning from these guys as well? Yeah,
definitely. I remember, I think it was my redshirt sophomore year that Dennis came in and I was kind of playing like a fullback, like flex tight end position.
Like an H-back type thing.
Yeah, like an H. So I had to kick Dennis out a lot or try to kick him out.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't like I was getting my ass kicked every time. It was like, I won't say it was 50-50, but there were some reps that I would win and some reps that he would make me look dumb. So, it was good to just see that I can compete with guys like that. And then with Trey, it was actually cool. So when he got drafted, how they put up like a little highlight of all the drafted players? I kid you not, 3 out of 4 of his highlights in the background is me catching. I think one was me catching a wheel route for like 40 yards. I was like, hey, that's me. And then the other one was me catching a deep curl and stuff. And so it was just kind of that was neat to be like, hey, I'm playing with this guy. He just got drafted in the 3rd round. So, but yeah, it definitely helps your confidence to know that you played with and against guys like that, and you can hang with those guys.
Now this might be jumping ahead, but when you see Trey's success, and they're obviously looking at him, not just at Sioux Falls, but overall these smaller school prospects, how many times have you seen or heard of like, hey man, that number 74 is good, but number 88, like who's that kid? Like just because of Dennis or Trey or, another school, like how many times does that happen as far as like, or stories you've heard?
Yeah, because they're looking at those big name guys, they end up finding somebody else. Yeah. That's actually kind of, I won't lie, that's kind of how I got picked up my senior year, because I was having a decent year, but I was banged up all fall camp, so I didn't even really practice.
Because you were all conference your junior year, right?
Yeah, junior and senior year. And then my junior year was great, and then my senior year was looking pretty good too. This is 2019. Yeah. But fall camp, I had broken my hand. I had the torn labrum in my shoulder, and I was just kind of banged up. So I played 4 games with that cast on. Did really well, made a bunch of catches, and then after 4 games, I was like, dude, I'm just too beat up. So I took a med red.
Yeah.
So I kind of lost some momentum in terms of like scouting at that point.
Yeah.
But I was healthy, which was a godsend for sure. So when I came back on the scene, scouts were coming in looking at Drew was the main one, our linebacker.
Yeah.
And then one of them was like, hey, this tight end's pretty damn good. Let's get him out to the CGS, the College Gridiron Showcase.
Yep.
So let's get him out to that. So that was cool. That's how I signed with my agent. That's how I got, exposure through that. And so, but yeah, I don't have any specific examples of that, but I know that for sure happens all the time.
It just seems like everyone's kind of eating, I don't want to say eating off the one guy, but like obviously that's a big thing, that a story that could be shared throughout, the D1 or FCS and then D2 and even D3.
Mm-hmm.
You had 1 pass attempt at Sioux Falls. Did that kind of validate the whole like, hey, I did it, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'll say, too, so in our spring game, this was actually a way better pass, but we ran the same play, and it was our OC. I love the guy. His name is Coach Havorka, Dusty Havorka.
Yeah.
He's like, Sig, I'm going to let you do this. He's like, I'm going to give you one crack at it.
Yeah.
Like, don't mess it up. I was like, all right. So they send me in motion. It was like a split back deal. Send me in motion, catch it, and then they release the receiver. And in the spring game, the dude was way farther downfield, so I had to like actually throw a long pass. Because in the game, I just kind of it was like just don't overthrow him.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. I was like scouring on Twitter and whatnot.
I'll show you after this. It's dope. But so the spring game one, I freaking bombed it like 55 yards on the money, scores, and that was like, all right, this is gonna be sweet. And then I didn't even know they were gonna call that play until right before. No, it was walk through the day of the game.
Okay.
And so we always walk through like the first 3 plays.
It's just a script and everything like that.
Yeah, the script like before our team meal, and Vorka's like, all right, first play. I can't remember what it's called, but I was like, oh, let's go.
Yeah.
So went out there and ended up throwing a touchdown. I think it was for like 78 yards or something like that.
Just
so I
like,
went 1 for 1. I was like, let's go, man. So yeah, that definitely validated. And then I think that same game was kind of like a breakout game for me because I had like 4 or 5 catches for 45 yards. That was my redshirt freshman year, so that was pretty cool. So
you're just like, okay, like all the nonsense at Davidson, all this like betting on myself, because it is humbling. Everyone wants to be the quarterback, even the chubby kid who's the center who gets to touch the ball every play to the defensive back. Everyone thinks they can play quarterback, and then it's like, things are starting to work out for you, and it's just like, this is. I'm living my dream up to this point right now.
No, definitely. I would say quitting was never really on my radar. I was always going to do what it took because I knew I wanted to be a college football player and hopefully be a pro football player too. So quitting was never really on my radar, and I always just kind of wanted to, prove that I could do it one way or another, whether that was quarterback. I always thought tight end was a cool position.
Yeah.
I was like, man, like
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you get to touch the ball quite a bit. You get to, block a little bit and throw your body around.
Well, you also beat up on linebackers, especially like in college where it's like,
oh yeah.
And I think in the NFL we've kind of gotten rid of the 2 down linebacker, but in college those dudes are still like, gotta think of all the time is like Brandon Spikes. He was a 2 down linebacker. Athletic tight end just beats up on these poor kids. And
like, I remember in the scouting report we were playing I don't want to call him out, but I think it was like Minot State and some other school, and we saw there was freshman linebackers. I was like, oh man,
this poor kid.
It's gonna be a fun week. Yeah,
yeah,
it was fun.
From some like small hick town, and it's
Right.
just like this poor kid. Is
Yeah.
just gonna, he thinks he's big shot. Starting freshman year, and he's just gonna get abused by these adults right now.
Yeah, I know, man. That junior year at Sioux Falls was fun, man.
Yeah,
that was a good time.
So then obviously you have the med redshirt year. You technically graduate from academia, going to Lindenwood. Was that a lot with Coach Stewart transitioning and whatnot as well?
That was the main reason. And they had just produced an All-American tight end.
Okay.
So I was like, this is, I want to be back in this system.
Tight end you.
Yeah, exactly, pretty much, yeah. So I hit him up. I think at that point, too, I probably could have gone somewhere bigger just because I had really good tape. I was, I fit the mold. I was athletic. I probably could have gone somewhere bigger, but I wanted to go somewhere where I knew I could, fit right in and play right away. So, but yeah, Stu, like you said, I graduated from academia. I had my MBA at that point, so I was like, hell, what do I do now? Is there a doctorate degree or what, what do you got for me?
Let's keep going,
Yeah, so I just I did like a MBA finance deal. Didn't graduate that because I would have had to do like 2 extra years, but that just kept me eligible. So, but yeah, Stug was the first guy I was going to call for.
And you essentially like doubled your production at Lindenwood that year as well. Like, was that also like, okay, man, like this is like, I don't want to say it's getting real because I'm sure it was real for you, but like these professional possibilities are more of a thing right now. Like,
dude, I won't even lie too. My senior year at Lindenwood was kind of a disappointment for me because I had worked out way too hard that summer, and I gave myself really bad like tendonitis in the Achilles. And then fall camp rolled around, and I was like, man, I can't even. So I won't even lie to you. I didn't even practice all fall camp or really at all during the year. I just played.
Yeah.
And the fact that they still had, trust in me to go out there and throw me the rock, and I still did what I did was really awesome. But I was hoping to do, put up a lot better production that year. But God obviously had a plan, and it is what it is, and I've got my opportunity right in front of me. So
because was the kid Brewster at that time, was he like a sophomore? He was still a captain. I think he was like all conference.
Yeah, big Brewster. So I actually lived with him and his whole family one summer going into that year.
Okay.
And so me and Cade got really close. We threw a bunch during the summer and everything. That's one of my best friends, and he was a junior at the time. He broke his ankle week 7, I think.
Yeah.
And then we had Cole Duggar, who's a really good quarterback, got hurt I think it was first or second week starting after that. And then it went to Fadul, and then it was me at quarterback. So Alex Fadul did a great job too. But that year we all had to, kind of adjust and
just
make things happen on the fly.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Dude, yeah. And we had a playoff game against a really good team that game. And so, being on our third string quarterback and our defense locked it down, but offense just couldn't quite get it done. But yeah, Brewster was the man, still is the man. He's out at SEMO right now.
Yeah, I saw that. I have a house in Cape Girardeau, so I keep in contact with like
oh, no kidding?
Yeah, like Coach Tuke is actually my neighbor down there.
Okay.
So like, give him the wave when I'm mowing the lawn down there. And I keep in looking at SEMO football because that kid down there is legit.
The quarterback?
Paxton.
Yeah.
He's
good.
huge. I've seen him like around town, and I'm like, dude, this dude's like, I don't know what's up with these kids named Paxton.
Yeah.
I think you
Paxton
guys.
Lynch.
Yeah, I mean, like, they you come out of the womb, they're like, yo, your kid's gonna be 6'5". This is what you got. This is the names for.
I'm gonna name my kid Paxton.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm gonna do, man. Well, my girlfriend's taller than me, so maybe I don't know, man.
How tall is she? Like 5'9", 5'10"?
5'8", maybe.
Really?
And she wears heels. Yeah, I'm like.
It's crazy because my mom and dad are both like 5'9", 5'10". Nobody in my family is above 6 foot. Like nobody, even
really?
up the line of And I was like, all right, cool. Like, thank you, God.
My grandfather's like 6'3", but my grandmother's like 4'10" or something
Really?
goofy like that. Yeah, and then like my great grandfather is like 6'5", and my great grandmother's even shorter. So I just
they like the short girls.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, but they made a short king like me. So, short king spring right here. So,
short king spring,
short
baby.
King spring. So after Lindenwood, obviously that's 2021, correct?
Yes, sir. Yep.
So 2022 comes around. What's the NFL looking like? Obviously, the USFL is here.
Mm-hmm.
Probably knew what the XFL was. I don't know how invested you were in the XFL in 2020.
Yeah.
But obviously there's options. There's, arena ball. There's, you're going to school. You're obviously getting the academia part, checking that box and everything like that. What's going through your mind as far as like professional level or air quote, getting that goofy 9 to 5 or starting your own business or whatnot?
Yeah, it's definitely a weird time period, kind of a weird headspace when you finish up your career and you know that it's a wrap for college. And I remember I was cleaning out my locker with my good buddy Reed. He's our long snapper.
Yeah.
And we were kind of talking about next steps or whatever. And I hadn't signed with an agent at that point. I didn't really know. And I knew I had the ability and the talent to, but things were very much up in the air. And he's like, well, I heard that the USFL is coming back. He's like, and I swear this happened. He was like, there's a team called the Houston Gamblers. Isn't that badass? He's like, there's a lot of football to be played. Like, just keep your eyes open. I was like, oh, that's cool. And actually, when I signed with Houston, it was like a flashback. I was like, man, that's
just
crazy.
like awkward, deja vu.
I was
type
like,
thing.
whoa, that happened. But yeah, XFL I knew was coming back, and that was a good opportunity. And obviously, I thought my NFL chances were great.
Yeah.
But I think that didn't shake out for a reason. Maybe it's meant to be next year, then a year after, or whatever. But I'm really excited to be reporting out in the next week.
So how did the USFL find you? Obviously, like they did go into the 2022 pool with a couple guys.
Mm-hmm.
One guy I talked to, Terry Myrick, he essentially forewent the NFL because he knew he'd be essentially a camp body, and ended up being a starter with the Michigan Panthers. Did your agent do all that work for you?
So
because you got signed in like September or something like that. September, October. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it was September. So I was pretty disappointed when I didn't get a camp or anything.
Yeah, like a mini camp.
I was like, man, I should have gotten something.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but that is what it was, and I just kind of trusted God. And at that point, I was working for my pops. I was I was helping maintain some of his rental property. So doing grunge work, bro. Like I remember he had me lay down a vapor barrier in a crawl space.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what that entails, but
it's not fun. My dad was a contractor for a while, and he used to put us through the grinder a little bit. Yeah.
Tell you what. So I was doing that stuff. I remember doing that vapor barrier job. I was like, man. And then I was still working out. Obviously, I always like to be in shape, and I was in really good shape then. So I hit up a quarterback coach who had coached me a little bit through high school. His name is Warren McCarty. He owns Warrior QB Coach or Warrior QB Company or whatever in Colorado. Yeah. I was like, yo, you got anybody that needs me to catch passes? Because I'm the type of guy that I'm not going to go out and run a mile. If I'm conditioning, it's going to be catching routes, playing pickup basketball, something like that. So he's like, yeah, I got guys that, could use. So I went out there, and I was the only guy, and I was just running. He's like, dude, you look good. And then he actually had a contact with the GM, Bob Morris of the Gamblers.
Awesome.
And he called him up, was like, yo, you got anybody that sticks out to you? And he stuck his neck out for him. He's like, yeah, I got this guy, Clint. He didn't get a shot, with the league yet, but I think he's ready. He looks really good. He's in really good shape. So they went out to Lindenwood, talked to Stug. They all had really good things to say about me. They looked at all my film.
So Morris goes out there. Morris flew out there. He was just like, I need to figure this out right now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and those guys, they had a lot of faith in me, and I'm really excited to prove them right. So, yeah, it was kind of crazy how it happened.
Yeah.
Praise God. It came out of nowhere, too. I remember I was sitting in my apartment in St. Charles here, kind of getting ready to do my insurance job, and Warren called me up. He's like, yo, the Gamblers about to offer you a contract. You ready? I was like, let's go.
Yeah. About to tell American Life or wherever you're going to go work, go kick it, man.
Yeah, right.
That's the worst, man. Like coming from contracting, like overseas and whatnot, like you hear all these dudes go into insurance, and like I know a couple other athletes who went into insurance. I'm like, why is it always insurance? Like,
bro, it's a grind. And they sell it to athletes because, you're the type of person that can do really well. You're a hard worker. You're going to go out and get it. You're going to do what it takes. Yeah, you're going to do what it takes to be successful. And you can make a lot of money in it. It definitely takes the right type of person to do that.
I mean, it takes you out of your soul, man. Like my buddy tried to give me an insurance job. He's like, man, you're a good talker. You could schmooze. And I'm like, bro, I don't like talking to people. And here I am trying to do my own radio podcast.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm more of an introvert too, and so like going out and knocking doors, like you meet cool people and it's cool, but every day it's like, bro, this is mentally a grind.
I get it.
So, but
have you talked to any of the Gamblers players yet? Like Julian Allen, Brandon Barnes, any of those tight ends?
Man, I'm hyped to meet those guys. Like I've watched all their film, and Julian Allen, he went on the Temptation Island or whatever, and he won it. What a savage!
I don't know what these USFL guys are like. Taking these reality TV stars, because they had him, and then they had what's his name, Chase Demore, who was on the Panthers, who I was like, yo, this dude's a scrub. But
dude, Julian Allen's good for the brand. He won that. He looks the part. Freaking looks like Aquaman. So
yeah, he does look like Aquaman.
I'm hyped to meet those guys and Brandon Barnes and everybody. I think he had some league experience. So
yeah, he's bounced around. I think he played in the AAF and the XFL as well.
I saw that.
Yeah. So I mean, he's definitely The guy's legit. I don't think he's kind of like you as far as he's a little bit bigger as far as like the blocking back.
Yeah.
And I thought Julian would be more like air it out, but it's kind of the opposite. So
we've all got our skill sets. I think Julian's going to be like a really good like flex tight end fullback. I think Brandon Barnes is a true Y, and I think I can kind of do both, which is going to be nice and advantageous. I think we're all going to get some good looks this year, so should be good. But no, I'm hyped to meet those guys, man.
Man. It's awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Did you talk to the quarterbacks at all or anything?
I haven't. I've heard good things about all of them. I've watched a little bit of their film, but I haven't. I'm kind of going in, blind faith. Yeah, I'm excited to get out there, and I can, pretty well meet and interact and become friends with most people, unless I get a really off vibe about you. Yeah. So. But I'm excited about it, bro. I'm not even sure who our roommate's going to be yet. I think I'll be with another tight end. But
hopefully, make the most sense.
Little
study slumber parties.
Yeah, no kidding. Stuff. So it's going to be good to just network and meet new people and get out there and play some ball again, man. It's been too damn long.
And it's in Memphis, too, which, like, from us here in Missouri, it's not the most outrageous drive either. So
yeah, it's like 4.
Yeah, if 4, if you're going 55, 10 over, it's 3,
That's what I do.
Yeah, man, that's what you got to do. Once you hit past Festus, you're just like, all right,
head down.
Yep, let's do it, man. Get past that gas station, that whatever it's called, QT in Herculaneum. You're just like, all right, Red Bull and go. Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
But
quick little QT stop.
Yeah, always, man. That's so. How coming from Colorado, going to Sioux Falls and coming to St. Louis area. I know St. Louis area is its own beast. What's been your biggest thing as far as being like a pseudo Missourian now? Because I'm one as well, and really embracing this whole kind of unique city that it is right now.
Oh, dude, I tell people I'm from the Lou.
Yeah.
And when they don't know, they're like, dang, this guy's hard.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you're from St. Charles.
Well, I always make the joke. It's like, I'm going to come off a little offensive here, but like, I always say, like, people in St. Charles think cheese puffs are a food group.
Right.
some of these chicks out here thinking they're pseudo Jersey Shore stuff.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, it's funny. I like Missouri. I'm trying to figure out, like, after I'm done with this, what kind of the next move is. Hopefully I get picked up by, an NFL team. If not, it's a 2-year contract. So, but in the meantime, I don't know if I'll come back here. I like it out here a lot. St. Charles is dope. Being right next to St. Louis, it's cool. I like the people. I got all my boys, my teammates out here, so it's a good setup for me for sure.
I mean, it's not a bad spot.
Yeah.
So you go downtown, like, what's your spot for the St. Louis people listening? Napoli or Charlie Guidos?
I won't even lie. I really haven't been to the city too much. You talking about, like, is that Ballpark Village area?
No, that's in Clayton. You got to go to Clayton more. You go to this place called Cafe Napoli. You'll really enjoy it. Take a girlfriend out there, take her family, man. They'll know what's up. And then Charlie Guidos is Pat Maroon's wife's place. That's where it's the best Italian restaurant on the hill, man.
That's the hockey player that came back and left and got another cup or whatever.
Kind of looks like me, but I'm way better looking. He got the height, I got the jawline. So that's
and the beard.
Not these the patchy hockey beards that they throw out there, man.
Dude, don't knock the patchy beard. I was telling him I told myself I'm going to grow it out one time, see how it works. Because you just got to commit to it. And if it don't work, I'll shave it off, keep the mustache, and that'll be it.
Keep the mustache, yeah.
That's what I think.
I got a mustache to put Joe's to shame. So we touched on all the goofy football stuff. Touched on the cheese puffs in St. Charles. What should people know about you as a man?
I think it's important, obviously, to prioritize what you want in life, and I think I've got a pretty good understanding. And that takes a while too. I think I got a pretty good understanding of faith before everything. God first all the time, and know He'll lead me to where I need to be. I think I'm just very blessed and fortunate to, be put in the position that I'm in. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to, do what I can, be humble, work as hard as I can, to hopefully make it pop. And if it don't pop, it is what it is. At least I know, I gave my best shot. But I think it's just important to know that I'm the type of dude that you can trust. Very loyal, just hardworking, faith first. Hopefully it works out. And if not, it's all good. You know what I mean?
And final question, with the USFL and the XFL, all the FLs going on right now, what does it mean compared to essentially the group before you that, because you went to school like 15 to 20 or 21, that 11 to 15 group, if that makes sense. What does this mean to all the guys like you in the smaller schools, the underdog. I hate kind of saying the player 54 because really being player 70 is, making $200,000 on the practice squad ain't a bad shtick. So I think the player 54 thing's a little weird. But, what does this mean? Like, now I'm sure you still talk to guys who are like, man, Clint, he came from Lindenwood. He's going to USFL. He's playing pro ball.
Mm-hmm.
What does this mean to guys like you in this opportunity?
It's definitely not lost on me how blessed and fortunate that I am to even get, like I said, it came out of nowhere. But at the same time, I'm really, confident that I can make this thing work, make it pop. So I just want to go out there and show that, they made a right decision. I can go out there and produce this year and have a really good year and, hopefully show out for, like you said, the guys that maybe, had the talent that I did but just didn't get the shot for whatever reason. And then I'll also say on the flip side of that, not just anybody can be a player 54 in terms of, dudes lose the drive to do it after it don't work out for, a couple years. And then you see guys in the XFL, USFL that are, 29, 30 years old that are still grinding and going. So it's a kudos to those guys for being able to do stuff like that. And it just takes a special type of person to be able to do that. So
I love it, man. Well, thank you so much, dude. It was awesome having you in.
Yeah, appreciate you.